It is a world of darkness, and the warriors of Gaia fight over the fate of the world against their enemy, the cosmic force of entropy and corruption, the wyrm. Unbeknownst to mankind, they wage a war against the coming apocalypse, with new cubs taking up the cause to fight with fang, clave, and gun and claw. They give the wyrm no quarter. They give it only rage.
Now, because this is Werewolf, I'm going to offer a unique opportunity to the Galliard if they would like to recap last session.
Last session was the day beginning our Rite of Passage. We started out in the warehouse, of which we had been locked into for the better part of a week with meager rations, all being driven close to madness with spending all our time with each other, until finally Savior came, in which we didn't have to be stuck in that room for any longer, when I believe it was Mother Larissa and Timmy came along. And thus we were taken to Central Park to begin our Rite of Passage. Upon entering, attacked by the elders of the sept, and one of us was stupid enough to go and attack the fuckers.
It wasn't me.
Woo-hoo! Surprising. But luckily the rest of the pack came to that one person's defense, and off into the portal opened by the great white mouse spirit. And then we found ourselves in unfamiliar and away from home, met only by this Native American looking man claiming to be the warden of the cairn. We spent that night speaking amongst ourselves and eating at a cave that was prepared for us, awaiting the dawn of the next day when we would start our Rite of Passage. However, in the middle of the night we were woken up by a howl of and then taken to the sept, where we found a shocking truth that was told to us by the Wendigo elders. Supposedly our sept had killed the Wendigo pups that had been sent to them, and we were cast out of the cairn, never to return or otherwise be killed by the Wendigos. And thus we found ourselves out in the wilderness, alone. No idea where we were, or how to find our way back home, or even what we should do. That was when the lupus of our team, our pack, guided us in the ways of surviving like a wolf in the wild. We traveled during most of the night, coming across dangers we had not faced before, animals possessed by bane spirits. We saw guidance from the spirit of the trees, and later settled down, creating, for the first time, a temporary shelter from which we would escape the blizzard which tore into the night 6 hours after we had left the cairn. On the morning, after resting well, we went out into the blizzard in hopes of hunting and finding prey and food to bring back to the pack. We learnt how to hunt. We acquired a bountiful feast. And upon returning had discovered something strange, a moose that had been bled dry. And so while some of the pack stayed to feast, to cook, to eat, 2 others ventured out to try and figure out what had happened to the moose. And they had learned that vampires stalk night. And so after returning to the others and venturing out to find the road for which I imagine the pack might surely return to in hopes of finding their way home, but for now, they returned to the shelter, awaited nightfall, and now find themselves face to face with beasts, these predators, these vampires, leeches, that some of the pack didn't even know existed until a couple hours ago. And so now they find themselves before these creatures, these 5 men, or at least they look like men. They had previously been wolves, with their red glowing eyes, and the blizzard, and their fangs.
Now, everybody feel free to once again indulge in the beauty of this lovely track, because we are going to rewind a teensy bit before the arrival of the vampire, which the Galliard would sing of later. The leeches, the cadavers, call them what you want. Because when the lupus snarls at fleet,
This is an
and the
urgent message.
Galliard, who so faithfully accompanied the Theurge, Tara, returned. This moose was briefly discussed, and yet there is a difference of opinion happening predominantly between that of the Get, to a lesser degree Tara, who in her human mind understands maybe it would be nice to have rations to go. But Snarls feels differently. And as a pack, they must learn to resolve these issues or die together. The scene is yours.
So, we gonna smoke it or what?
Well, there's not really any point in eating it now. Best to save it for later when on the move.
Look, Snarls. Why are you opposed to us eating the moose?
Look, I'm not saying there's a problem with eating it necessarily to our health. But I think before we eat it, we should get the spirit of the moose to finally reconnect with its physical body, so that when we do eat it, we can show true respect and it can be at peace.
How are you meant to combine a spirit with its dead body? It's already left, right?
See, combine, not necessarily, but it's unsure what's happened to its body, and it's...
Well, then we can cook it up. Before we eat it, you can go and find it, and tell it we're eating it.
He wants to come in with the spirit before we cook it. This is what I'm getting. Am I wrong, Snarls?
Why? Cooking it's not eating it. The body's gonna be just as dead before and after.
Because the spirit might be more distressed if we cook it before we eat it. and before we commune with it.
Look, if you want to cook it, fine, just don't get ahead of yourselves. Don't eat it before we finally get the spirit to realize what's going on.
Snarls, we already found the spirit.
Yeah, and it's confused. It's been drunk from and left about. It doesn't know what's happened to its body.
But how would you find it again? It's
Remember, I grew up in the forest and track things down.
The forest isn't the Umbra. You won't really see it here, will you? I mean, it's not like it's here with us. Oh, spirit of the moose that died somewhere else. Where are you? Please show yourself.
Whether in the forests or in the Umbra, I can... That's my point.
What, like you found that Bane?
I mean, did any of you find it? Yeah, I found the Bane. What are you getting at?
You're so good at tracking, why'd you let it get away?
Dee's gonna step up forward. He's been watching this entire thing. He's gonna take a step forward and look to each of you. Fellas, listen, hey. It's been a long day. Let's just do it this way. You get to cook the moose. We don't eat it yet. And we give Snarls a chance to go find spirit. Right? Let's keep it. No, we're getting a little. We're counting straws here. You feel me? We cook the moose. He goes looking for the spirit. We go from there. Good compromise.
Like I said, we're smoking it, right? It's gonna take a while anyway.
Exactly.
I kind of agree with my friend here. Acquaintance?
the Philodox speaks sense.
As I said, I've got nothing against what he said.
Cool. Whose turn is it up fire? And Darren turns his back on Snarls. In his, Hispo form, but nonetheless. Dave, you cooking again, or you want to switch turns?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about heading out with you guys. Perhaps we could cook it overnight. I'm gonna be up tonight anyways.
Snarls would enter the Umbra.
Snarls, do roll a Gnosis roll, please. Snarls, you manage to slip sideways into the Umbra. Your mirror shades giving you a constant line to the spiritual world where colors pop. The greens of the grass, the white of the snow, the smells twice as intense, the earthen shelter of which you've built, even the very wood which creaks with little bits of dried dirt on them. Everything is magnified, yet enlarged. Outside, the trees would stand twice their height and 3 times as new. And the blizzard, just as fierce, even in the Umbra. Nevertheless, I'm assuming you're going to go look for moose.
Yes, I would also use my gift of heightened senses to help me.
Go ahead and roll a perception and survival. Meanwhile,
Out of character, what time is it? How
I was
close
going to say
until
it's after y'all have gotten back from the road, knowing that we got vampires.
Snarls shouldn't have gone along.
I look to Knight's character and say, he tends to run off without us, doesn't he? But that's probably due to him being solo for so long.
Aren't wolves used to running in packs?
That's what I'm saying.
Not all. I mean, some are lone wolves.
The lone wolf dies.
And he's
Yeah.
very much alive.
He did break his leg last time. you went into the Umbra.
That's why I think he shouldn't have.
Can anyone go with him? Hell, should we all go?
Out of character, any reflective surface?
Well, you have a lot of very shiny piercing.
Yeah, but that won't help me going to the Umbra.
Not unless someone feels like rolling for the pack.
I mean, you could look into my truth earring.
Alright, so... should we, like, gut the moose, set it to smoke, and then... step sideways? You know, we can leave it to smoke while we're off finding its spirit.
2 of us stay here, 2 of us will go.
I was just going to put it outside and let it stay cold while we were outside, while we were off doing other things. Do it during the night, but if you want to do it now, I can stay behind.
One of you two, Darren's pointing with his paw at Dee and Tara, and then to Tara. Stay here. You're the 2 with the jewelry, so in case another group needs to run after you, we can.
I'll go.
I'll go with you.
I look at his earring and try to...
So, you been around long?
What do you mean by that?
Like you've been doing this wolf thing a lot? Long?
Just as Dave and Dee begin speaking, Tara staring into Dee's earring, concentrating, but though feeling the connection with the spirit, is unable to pass over, unable to relinquish the tangible, as Darren places a hand on her shoulder, then both step sideways, now within the Umbra. A strange sight is now there is no fire, and the shelter seems larger than it was before. There's no Dee, no Dave. Nor is there really a door per se, just a piece of wood. Yet, looking outside, you recognize the world, though it's more densely populated by vegetation, and the storm seems to occupy the entirety of the sky and air before you.
Looking around, says to Darren, thanks. Man, I really haven't gotten used to all this yet.
Yeah, you're young. Anyway, let's track this mud. And Darren would attempt to shift into Lupus from his spot.
Tara's already in this book. Looking around, can she see Snarls or something that would indicate where he's gone?
Go ahead and perception and primal urge or survival, whichever one you have higher. Darren, stamina and primal urge. As Darren's body begins to twist and bend so he may take on the form of the lupus, Tara, you manage to catch the scent of Snarl. It helps that he smells like half of an eaten dough and all of you.
Plus he's got animal musk.
It has a very distinctive smell, which you wouldn't find on any wolf or spirit here in the Umbra, especially because there's still a bit of that New York stank under his paws. Makes him stand out a little bit. Just follow the smell of sour milk.
She calls back.
Mixed with blood and fur.
Yeah, she calls back to Darren. I've got a scent. Follow me.
Darren nods and follows along, like right by her side.
I follow the scent to find the snarls.
Very briefly, we'll go back to Dave and Dee.
How you feel about Montana?
Fuck you. What do you mean about how I feel about Montana?
I'm just thinking. Nice large mountains, lots of trees, nice place for the pack to head once we're out of this situation.
Look, man, I ain't about Montana.
I'm not much either, but I don't exactly see snarls blending in with an urban environment.
No, I'm saying I don't fuck with Montana as a state. You feel?
Yeah, fair.
Just kind of
Would
buggy.
you? Yeah. Where would you like to head?
I'm down to go where the pack goes. Anywhere else that's not here. She's mad bad.
Yeah, it's fucking cold.
A word?
Yes. Freezing at night, freezing at day.
That was rhetorical, brother.
Meanwhile, Darren, Tara, as you search for snarls, following his scent, as you were, is there any conversation between the two of you with everything happening and going to happen still? Is there anything that's pressing on you to talk about?
You said that you saw black spirals and fiery, and was it any more detailed than?
See, I got the gist of that, but you're cutting up pretty regularly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just sometimes you cut up. I got the gist of what you said.
Okay.
I don't know. Let me think. They were all sacrificing us? Like some big blood ritual or something.
In a place that looked like wilderness?
No. I could try meditating on it later, but not now. We got a wolf to find. Lone wolf, idiot. We getting close? Can we pick up the pace? I don't want to leave him out in this blizzard.
His scent's becoming stronger, but he's a much better tracker. Go figure.
I want to try finding the scent as well.
You catch his scent almost immediately. Having slept next to him kind of helped. If you had slept any closer to each other, you would have been taking his fur out of your mouth. You catch the very distinctive musk of a lupus. It's impossible to really miss the difference between him and Dave. Even after a week, Dave still smells like a human being and still has all the ticks and twitches of a human being, just like the rest of you. Soap, shampoo, wash your hands, this, that. Snarls! Yeah, that's an animal. With a hint of the city and a bit of blood on him. You'll catch up to him real quick. In fact, you begin to move ahead of Tara, leading her.
I just pick up the pace. I need to get to him.
Tara keeps pace with him.
Both of you find snarls just as you move through a large cluster of the tree. Each tree standing like a monolith, scaling upwards 50, 60 feet. They're tightly packed and yet grown thick. Some of them are as thick as the inflatable pools you used to swim in as a kid. Not the little ones for the tights. The ones your dad would swim in.
Damn.
And as you see him through the trees, you can see he is speaking before the spirit of, in fact, a moose. Lotara, this one is different from the one you saw before. This one standing at some 16 feet in height. It has this strange reddish golden glow about it. It's not possessed. And there's a faint blueness which radiates from the eyes. The wolf before speaks calmly as the moose bows his head, as though appreciative of the respected show.
Out of character. Can I tell what this gold glow means?
Intelligence and occult.
May I also roll?
You don't have to.
May I?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. 0 in occult.
God damn it.
You suck. Well, Tara and Snarls, both of you know it means the same thing. It means that this spirit, which represents the meese of this area, these are a prominent animal to the ecosystem. They are a prominent animal of this region, and thus their spirit has a certain amount of weight and authority. In fact, you'd be terrified to see what the spirit of bear looks like in this area, or wolves for that matter. God forbid you find a bald eagle up here. The moose begins to trot off as Snarls has spoken with it, and the two of you approach.
Tara also kind of looks around attentively, considering that tree spirit said that there are veins about.
Darren just plods on, at almost a canter towards Snarls. Where the hell did you go?
Snarls adjusts his mirror shades, and you can't really see his eyes, and he's in lupus form, so it's hard to tell, but he kind of looks with you. Well, he looks at you with some sort of confusion, like, I said I was going.
Alone? What is wrong with you? You're part of a pack. Act like it.
He looks at you very still.
Snarls, you are getting an uncontrollable urge to bristle your fur and show your teeth. So far, every instinct you has tells you you're in charge of the pack.
Tara walks up to the two of them, looking at Snarls. She says, Darren's got a point. The last time he went into the Umbra alone, You remember what happened, and we don't want anything bad happen. Not now. And then she also turns to look at Darren and says, but you can't exactly be a hypocrite, because you were the one who, during the Ahroun, split from the pack. Both of you get over yourselves, and we need to get back to this shelter.
Darren fixing his gaze on Tara. Don't tell me what to do.
Darren.
Fiona.
Tara looks at him and snarls.
Snarls would kind of put a hand on Tara for a second, almost moving forward, saying, Darren, you can't just be yelling at everyone because you're aggressive and annoyed for some reason. Look, we have things to do, and we're getting them done. You can't waste our time and go against everyone because you're just angry for whatever reason. We've helped the pack. We've given the food to the pack. For God's sake, can we just be peaceful for once? He would start to walk past Darren, heading back to where he entered the Umbra.
You want
Tara
peace?
follows off the snarls.
Darren's gonna pounce on Snarls for turning his back on him.
As Darren lunges, he knocks Snarls into the snow, scuttling it along. His challenge made clear. Tara, you stand between the two as Darren and Snarls are now very clearly about to throw down the hatchet.
Tara focuses her attention on Darren, snarling, and if he makes a move towards Snarls, she will attack. But she just says to him, right now is not the time to be doing this. You saw what happened in your dream. Do you want to hasten that fate? Right now, we need to be at our full strength. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get back to the rest of the pack, then you two can have a face down. Because we are not safe where we are.
What's strength in the pack? I don't see any strength unless prove it to me.
This is not the time.
Snarls is... Wait, am I on the ground or am I on my feet at this point?
You easily could have gotten to your feet. You were shoved into the snow, but you didn't, go spiraling out of control.
Snarls is at his feet, growling as he says, you clearly forget that there's a danger coming for us. We're being hunted. We have more pressing matters to worry about than us getting into an argument, getting into a fight for no good reason.
The reason is I don't think you can fight, not as a pack. Prove it to me, now!
He looks at you, waiting for you to talk more.
Just glaring at you.
You'll get your chance to fight when we find whatever's hunting us. Save that anger, save that strength. Use it then. There's no point in wasting it now.
There is no
Because I'm telling you right now, if what you saw is true, if we're going to go up against Black Spirals and Fomora, you need every strength you can, because those bastards are not going to be... They're not going to hold up.
All three of you roll your rage. Snarls, Tara, even though you are pissed and ready for a confrontation, considering the wisdom of maybe even having a face down now, both of you, Darren was gifted by Gaia with far too much rage. His form begins to grow even larger than that which it was, as he dons the horrid form of the Krynos and bellows. This is now a fight.
Can I shift into Hispo?
Go ahead, roll stamina and primal urge. Meanwhile, Snarls, it is still your turn, and you can see Darren's eyes are very fixedly on you.
Can I rage into rhinos?
Yes, you can. Looking to each other, both Kara and Snarls depart from the Umbra, soon caught by the howling sound of the wind and the dimming glare of the sun on the snow.
Entering into the physical world, Snarls would peer into the Umbra so that he doesn't lose sight of Darren in case he runs off to attack someone else. Or something else.
And what is the berserker Darren doing?
Looking for targets.
It would seem that for the moment, Darren is isolated away, not having any reflective surface. You momentarily have gotten out of his line of sight.
Can you keep an eye on him? When he comes to his senses, we need to bring him back. Can't leave him out here. Stupid as he is.
Snarls would be peering into the Umbra to keep watch of him.
Both of you begin to roll stamina and athletics as you begin to move back towards, well, closer to the initial encampment. Well, Snarls, you see Darren tear off into the Umbra, searching for something to spend his rage on. And frankly, as fast as he moves, and as powerfully as he moves, almost smashing his way through the trees, would have been a nasty fight if nothing else. The two of you make slow progress back, even though you are in your non-mortal forms, your Hamid form, rather. It's a lot easier for Tara and her Hispo to move along the snow. Snarls in your heavy bipedal Krynos. You sink so much into the snow of the blizzard that you are dreadfully far behind and trying to keep up, forcing Tara either to wait or go ahead. But Lord knows if Darren were to come out of the Umbra, not being in Krynos carries its own danger.
Out of character, we are kind of, Snarls peering into the Umbra. I assume following Darren.
You see and follow as Darren thrashes his way through the brush of the Umbra, felling a small tree and diving between them as he smashes through the iced-over pond, tearing at the spirit of a fish. Within moments, it is annihilated and hanging. He keeps whirling, looking for further targets. Dave, the door is opened to your shelter as dragged in is Darren, Hamid, naked, his skin burning red from the cold and the blizzard. As Snarls and Tara drag him in and close the door, dropping him near the fire.
Snarls would go to Lupus form.
Yeah, Tara would stay in his boat. She'd get a blanket and just carelessly toss it over Darren.
Alright, what the fuck just happened? Why Darren naked? What the fuck going on?
Because he decided to go skinny dipping.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Can you tell me the real reason?
Snarls.
Get did as get does and got angry.
Fuck it. God damn it.
Snarls would adjust his glasses and say, look, he did it earlier and he did it again now. He's not being controlled. And he's not listening to anyone. We need our Zadok. We can't be divided.
Based on what you just told me, sound like we ain't getting a Zadok until somebody proves it to Darren. I'm gonna say this right now. I don't wanna be Zadok. I ain't about that. I ain't a leader, I'm just a bit of a follower. Alright, I'm gonna be real with you. I know my strengths. I'm here to do the judging when I need to. When somebody asks me for that, I'm here for it. But
I'm gonna be real. If anyone should be Zadok, it's gotta be you, little miss.
Did someone say something? Darren, who was kind of lying prone on the floor, raises his head slowly and begins to shake it. Why am I on the ground? Looking down at his bare chest. Why am I naked?
I walk over and hold the blanket over him. You sort of, I look to everyone and then I say, did you ever watch the old show starring the Hulk back on TV? Any chance? You sort of raged out there, buddy. Yeah.
Snarls was Dave saying, you killed a spirit.
Why?
Because you succumb to berserk.
Darren, pausing for a moment, raises himself onto his elbows in kind of a half plank, then sits on his heels, dragging the blanket over his bits. And why did I do that, Tara? Sounds like there's something more you want to say to that.
I say it like it is. That's what happened.
Now, and Darren begins to stand, grabbing the, making a full circuit of the blanket and holding it in his right hand, so his waist down is covered. I don't remember exactly what happened after I went berserk, but I get the feeling I know what happened before. And he looks at Snarls. We aren't finished.
And you're gonna do it the proper way this time, with the face down.
He turns his head to D. Watch your tone. I know you're a Philodox. But don't order me around.
As long as you don't try and kill him, yeah, I won't.
Darren's right eye kind of twitches. Just kind of looks at D for a minute. And resolves to look back at Snarls. I thought you were actually going to do something. He takes a step towards the wolf. With your hackles up. But, he just turned and fled. I'm not going to follow anyone who doesn't have the strength to lead me.
If you're suggesting that I was being cowardice by running away, you see, I have honor, unlike you, who is being uncontrolled.
And Darren immediately just with his right hand strikes Snarls in the throat and just holds him up. So he's standing on his hind legs and he's just holding his throat.
Go for a strength and brawl contested, both of them. Darren very quickly seizes Snarls and pulls the wolf up so they're staring at each other.
Don't you dare insult my honor!
Can I kick him, off of me?
Strength and brawl contested.
Dave would walk in the middle of the pair and you said he's holding him up by his throat, so you try to grab Darren's wrist and push Dave by putting his hand on Dave's chest and push him away from Daryl.
Darren. Go ahead and roll your strength and brawl. Snarls claws practically at Darren's chest, yet the Get stands resolute. As you try to pull them apart, you frankly don't manage to do much but press your warm hand against Darren's still somewhat icy chest. and feel Snarls' fur under your fingers. Darren is not budging lightly.
Whoa. We don't need to do this here. Both of you
We're
stop
taking
it.
this
Calm down.
outside. We're taking this outside. You two,
Yeah.
out.
You're not gonna rip apart our house. Our only source of survival at the moment.
Unless you want to go be sleeping in the blizzard.
It's time for the face down. You two outside. We operate in this like usual.
Darren? Snarls?
Darren's just staring daggers at Snarls.
Darren, listen to me. You're challenging him, right?
Yeah,
The challenge chooses what challenge they do.
let's take this outside. And Darren just drops Snarls from his throat.
The moment the door is open, the biting winds of the blizzard slide in, bringing in a tuft of snow, which scatters at the foot of the bedding which was laid out, and the place where all of you were standing. The wind's so strong you can see some of the trees thinner and younger, and some of the older pines tilting as before your face nothing can be seen after 10 feet. At once, Darren, your skin burns from the cold.
Darren takes a few steps into the blizzard and immediately shifts into Krynos.
Can I walk beside Darren and try to talk to him while he's in this state?
That's up to the Philodox. He's the one who is tasked with overseeing these things.
You ain't getting into the middle of this. The challenge has already been set up, so D's gonna hold you back if he sees you move, and then he's gonna lean in.
I'll look up
This only
to.
this can work out. I tried.
Oh.
It ain't working out any other way.
I'll give D a nod and whisper. I know, but Snarls is gonna get his face ripped off.
Hey, you know the rules, all right? Just gotta follow them. Not what I want, 100%, 110%. But this is the challenge that they got, so this is the challenge that's going to happen.
Okay.
I ain't Zadon. I can't tell them to do otherwise.
Philodox, I'd like to do a Gamecraft challenge.
It's been decided. Game draft challenge is up.
Okay, OC real quick. With Gamecraft, there's obviously the riddles. There's an Umbra one as well, right?
Gamecraft has, yes, the riddle contest. It involves no violence. That is the... Gamecraft can change depending, but traditionally it does come down to a riddle contest.
Then Snarls would suggest D-Prince. I think it would be important to have a challenge of culture, especially among Ahroun. So we'll be doing the riddle contest.
You heard him, Darren. Riddle contest up. This works simple. You ask a riddle, and you attempt to solve that riddle. You fail, then you lose. And you keep going back and forth until somebody fails. Typical riddle contest. No best of 3. None of that.
Do I still have my human voice box?
No. You'd have to roll Dex and Primal Urge.
I'm going to attempt that then. I'm staying in Krynos.
Your voice box shifts, altering so you may commune in the Hamid speech.
I ain't got a choice, do I?
No, sir. You got 5 minutes to prepare. Well, whatever the hell is equivalent to 5 minutes on this bullshit.
Darren sits down cross-legged in the snow and stares down at the snow just in front of his crossed legs. His hands making a front cage with his fingertips touching and his thumbs up. He's going into a not entirely meditation, but some hippies equivalent.
Deep thought.
Deep thought, yeah. Thank you very much.
Snarls would do the same.
Behind the Philodox, Tara, standing next, shakes off the snow that has gathered on her.
Thee sitting there waiting is gonna, yeah. I'm gonna shift the Krynos, just in case things go south.
So will you be calling on the spirits to ask these riddles?
Wait, so we don't come up with it ourselves?
I mean, can. It comes down to how the Philodox will do it. And if anything, he's the one who should be asking them if that's the case.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Well, how would you keep it fair if you can say, nope, that's not what I'm thinking of?
Oh, fucking true. Alright. In that case... yeah. Guess I'm asking the riddles. Your 5 minutes is up. At least I think it is. I'm close enough. I'm gonna be asking the riddles.
Darren just nods his huge head.
Snarls would ask, will they be for both of us to answer, or will you do it individually?
Individually.
Snarls would nod.
Alright. Darren, you up.
He again nods his huge head.
I am something people love or hate. I change people's appearances and thoughts. If a person takes care of themselves, I will go up even higher. To some people, I'll fool them. To others, I'm a mystery. Some people might want to hide me, but I will show. No matter how hard people try, I will never go down. What am I?
I'm going to be rolling this and spending a willpower. What's the roll, Nyland, sorry?
Intelligence enigma.
What does that net him?
That nets him a hint. A vague one.
Vague hint, alright. It might not be something physical.
Age.
Correct. Snarls, you up next.
Snarls would nod.
There are 10 dragons in the castle. How many dragons are actually there?
The same as before. A vague implication to its concept of the answer rather than anything else.
The riddle's more mathematical.
Wait, do I actually have to come up with it myself? Because I have no fucking clue. Nyland, is there nothing else I can do?
I would say you're allowed one roll for each dot of wits you have. Just because that's how quick you think. So if you want, you can roll again.
Okay, I'm going to use another point of willpower. Oh, that is bullshit.
Back at square one.
Cool.
Honestly, even I don't know.
Yeah,
This
but
one has wisdom.
that's math. Math. There's 10 dragons in a castle. How many are actually there? Wait, and that's all that the riddle was, right? Just there are 10 dragons in the castle. How many are actually there?
That is the entire riddle.
Entire thing.
As the pack watches on, the snow begins to gather on Darren and Snarls' forms as they stand or sit. D stands out poignantly, the black jackal Krynos standing over the two, his snow a molted mesh of slick melting snow on his flesh and that which is gathered on him, clinging to the fur.
Okay.
Pack watches as Snarls with his paw begins to scratch at his muzzle. He is in thought.
Darren's just staring. Blinking when he has to, but staring.
Can he call on a spirit to help him?
That's kind of cheating.
Well, isn't that...
That's true.
You can cheat, right? Is it possible to ask my ancestor if they know the answer?
Go ahead and roll your ancestors.
Okay, I'm going to use willpower for an auto success.
as you gaze through the mirror shades into the Umbra. You communicate in the way that is more natural to wolves, with scent and groans and yip. You sound very frustrated. Though your ancestor, a proud Ahroun, is visible. Distinctly a spirit, they are translucent yet watching, listening. Their legs crossed, their hands on their knees, they listen to your query before they ask, with a smile, I've never seen a dragon. Now, Philodox, perception, empathy, snarls, charisma, subterfuge.
The fuck? That is. Can we roll for an auto success?
Yeah?
Cool. Spend the willpower as well.
You can tell he's muttering in wolf speak to himself, but you can't really make out what it is he's getting across. But you can tell he's muttering in wolf speak.
Snarls would say 0. There are none because dragons aren't real. After that, you hear him once again muttering in wolf speak, almost as like a prayer.
Tell me, Nyland, does my truth hearing buzz?
Well, he hasn't really told a lie.
Son of a bitch.
Though the pack, at least those that aren't focused on the riddles, can probably see D very briefly pinch his earring and then go back to consideration. Time for the next round of questions in this gamecraft.
Darren, you up next.
He nods.
What English word has 3 consecutive double letters?
As I said, I'm going to be keeping things fair with rolling. I am not going to spend willpower with this.
Darren, you're stumped. You're going through the entire English language going, oh man, I really wish I'd paid more attention in English and not math. If you want, you can roll again, because you do have a 2 in wits. Difficulty will be higher though.
Okay, I'll roll and I'll also spend willpower.
I will give the hint, as this is a fairly quick and easy one even for me. I suck at riddles. An occupation. You can all hear the crunch of snow as Tara, seeming to look away from the challenge, begins to make a short patrol around the area. A short moment after, Dave moves back inside of the shelter that he's made, shaking off the snow that's accumulated on his fur. The smell of blood, very faint, mainly the smell of fresh meat, becomes prevalent as fire becomes stoked. He's likely cooking up that moose. Now, very briefly out of character, I'm going to propose an option, whereas both of you make an intelligence roll, just intelligence, and we have a quick intermission, having decided the gamecraft, or we keep playing it out, but I am doing this in the interest of, everybody being able to do something.
Yeah, I'm down for that final roll.
Alright. In which case, both of you roll intelligence. Both of you roll again. Both managed to get through the second round. Snarls win. with a little bit of help from the sidelines.
They don't have to know that.
You better fucking hope I don't figure out.
Shame on you! Shame on your family! Shame on your cow! Next, we're gonna be talking to vampires. Picking right up where we left off as the vampires are before the shelter. The howling blizzard at their backs making for a dark, gray smoke screen. You are visibly able to see one of them who is close enough to the entrance that the light inside allows you to vaguely see his features, whereas the others are merely black figures with red eyes.
Tara would shift into her Krynos form and step forward before the others to speak to their leader as the Galliard.
Meanwhile, Snarls would peer into the Umbra to see if there are any worm-tainted spirits surrounding them, or their general location.
Roll Gnosis.
And Darren, who is at the front of the pack, would step sideways and back a bit for Tara to take lead, as the Galliard should.
I would walk out and join them in Krynos form.
It is a bizarre sight to be seen. As each of you come from the shelter, you come in a shifting of forms, just as the vampires had shifted from their wolfish. You stand with a no man's land of snow and blowing wind between you. Yet, despite their homid forms, despite their light clothing in most cases, they appear as unaffected by the snow and the cold as you. Their undead flesh uncaring.
Would I see anything in the Umbra? Any spirits surrounding them?
There are spirits within the Umbra, naturally the spirits of everything around you, yet, if you mean Bane spirits, no. There are no Bane clinging or near them.
Snarls, having his attention placed back on them, would use heightened senses and try to read them.
Perception of them. I will say to the Galliard, roll your intelligence and etiquette. You know that by custom, you should refer to them with the suffix, actually after finding out their name, Ichthia. Whereas if you refer to any member of your pack, considering they are your honored equals, it would be Yulf. So it would be Darren Yulf or Dave Yulf. As for yourself, you have no need for suffix. You are speaking for yourself. Since none of you here is presently a Zadok of any kind or of greater rank, Rhea doesn't really enter the equation.
But approaching the, I suppose, leader of these vampires.
Cadaver, leech.
She'd stop a slight distance away, but before the others, and addressing their leader, say, I am Tara, and this is my pack. Who are you?
With his hands slightly held up, so that they are to either side of his face, not above his head. It's clear he's showing he doesn't mean any harm. Nevertheless, he speaks calmly, plainly. I am John. We're just moving through the area. We have no qualm with you.
Tara gives a bit of a incline of the head as she says, John Ichthia, where are you and yours traveling? She says a bit more relaxed in her posture.
You can see some of the shimmering glimmer of the red eyes shift, looking amongst themselves. One stares constantly, not changing where they look. The leader is slow to answer. Alberta. We're going to one of the cities there.
Out of character, whereabouts is that? Like, west, south, east?
West.
Oh, lovely. She would ask, how long have you been in this area?
Only a small amount of time. Just long enough to feed. We're perfectly happy to share our kills. We need only the blood.
She glances to the spot which they had brought. Not moving ahead, but just around. She says, we accept and appreciate the gift, and are willing to not interfere with you, as long as you do not feed on any of the nearby villages.
We've deliberately kept away from feeding off of the villagers. In places like this, your kind tend to have kin among the peoples in those kinds of places. We're not looking for trouble. We've watched, and we've stayed off to the sides, preying on the wildlife.
She gives a nod, seeming to respect that.
If you want, we'll leave you be. As I said, we're traveling. We only lay claim to what area we need to hunt for any.
Out of character, what time of night is it right?
Still very early into the evening. You guys will need sleep. They won't. So making an enemy of them now would be, thus far, pointless and dangerous.
But out of character, we have no idea what we're being hunted.
No.
Okay, but it is coming from the west.
Yes. Whereas these guys have been off around the village, at most watching it, at least to your knowledge.
But tonight we can't. Like, we have to sleep. Yeah?
But you plan on not sleeping, which means, well, make being active a little tougher. And you probably won't be as on your A game as you would like.
Tara would say, almost a bit hesitantly, we are happy for us to stay out of each other's way. However, there is something I would ask your assistance, and if you'd be willing to help, we would not forget it.
At that, all the vampires look between each other. Even the leader takes his eyes off him. When he looks back, he crosses his arms over his chest. We're listening. Just
If you-
as you begin to speak, you can hear the sound of as Darren begins to sharpen his claws. In particular, but Tara, you can see, not on the leader, but on one or two of the others, they shift awkwardly. You see why. At that motion, at that sound, several of them grow these black wolfish claws from their fingers.
Darren just looks up from the ground with like an innocent look on his direful face towards the vampires and stops pawing the ground.
And Tara continues saying, if you are traveling westward, we would want to know if you come across anything out of the ordinary, animals that seem more aggressive than be otherwise, or anything you would describe as a black mark.
We've seen some things out of the ordinary back at the village. But that might just be the tides of change blowing.
What have you noticed?
Town is small. My guess is it's been this way for a long time. Haven't been through here. But it's easy to see that change has finally come. There's a lot of excavation sites around the village. Croter's Pass, it's called. From what I can tell, the trucks moving through are from a company called Grand Enterprises. I've also seen couple of trucks from Omicron Oil. He shrugs his shoulders. They have a few mines around the area, the biggest one being Black Wolf Mine. He points over his shoulder with a thumb.
Out of character, do those companies...
I would say Dave and Tara roll your wits and alertness for Tara. Dave, you have the option of wits and alertness or wits and streetwise.
I would like to use a point of willpower.
Same here.
Grand Enterprise. Neither of you really recognize that one. But Omicron? That's a Pentex subsidiary.
I'm going to speak up and look to Tara as I actually will look at Tara and then speak up. How far back was that mine?
Out of character, did they mention whereabouts?
Well, he thumbed over his shoulder, and the only road that led there was the 102A. Kind of went up a hill.
But we don't know how far.
Honestly, a few miles away. Maybe 3 at most.
Okay.
And the vampire in question, lowering his hand, says, about 3 miles north.
I give a nod and say, thank you.
It's not something we've dealt with. It has no relation to us, so we have no reason to care.
I look to Tara and I make a note. You know you're in Wendigo territory, right?
At that, they all pause and exchange a glance between each other.
Dave is in Krynos, right?
Correct.
Does his tail reach the ground?
Yes.
Then I'm going to slowly, casually walk over to him and, with my now sharpened claws, kind of, sit down and place one of my forepaws on the back of his tail. Just very, very, very lightly.
As Dave says that and Darren goes to move, Tara would just say in the Garu tongue, "Let me talk to them."
Dave would give a nod.
Darren would stop mid his paw going down onto his tail and settle his paw, not cutting it.
D, you're the only one who can see from your vantage point, but one of the vampires inclines forward. You get a very brief glimpse that from their figure, it's a woman with blonde hair. She whispers something, and that's when the leader holds up his hand.
I'd like to try and listen to what she said, because I'm in lupus form, which means I have good hearing.
Go ahead. Perception alertness. Well, you're out of luck. Snarls, however, despite the blaring of the blizzard, this constant mooch of air and snow, you can distinctly hear a very French, actually, a very weird way of speaking, because you're a wolf. As the woman explains, Wendigo would be the native, but it stands to reason that these are not the native wolves of the region. They pretty much said, yeah, Wendigos are a Native American thing, so maybe they're talking about Native American werewolves?
Okay. How is she positioned? Which one is she?
Facing them, she's the one just off his right shoulder. Well, your right is left.
Okay. Could I read to see if is it bad intent?
What I can't see is she sounds a little excited.
Tara would give a nod at what he said. And then again ask, if you are going west, will you let us know what you come across?
He steps forward several paces, close enough that both of you are within arm's reach of each other. How can we find you?
8 miles northwest, there is a clearing. Meet us there tomorrow night.
He holds out his hand to you. I'm John. I'll most likely send Gabrielle to speak. The woman stepping forward smiles. She's very bare. A crop top, jeans, no shoes. If she were human, she'd be frozen stiff as a board. As it stands, she looks perfectly at ease.
Tara takes his hand, closing her clawed hand around his, tightly but not too tight to cut him. But she gives one firm shake. As I do so, I want to try and read him.
Perception empathy. The most disturbing thing to you is he doesn't seem afraid. He releases your hand, the woman behind him offering a polite smile. As he begins to turn, then stops looking back at you. Enjoy the beer. If you travel by day, he holds up a hand and you watch as the claws grow from his fingertips, long and black. He cups his wrist with his other hand. If you find this mark on a tree, go further north and around that area. We won't be there during the day.
She nods.
Leave your own markings if you wish us to follow.
Until tomorrow night, then.
He nods and does firmly turn his back on you. The other four watch as he approaches them. And once he moves past them, they walk backward a couple of steps before turning, each on their own accord fading into the fog of the blizzard, slowly returning back to the forms of wolves.
Then Darren steps on Dave's tail.
Tara would look to Snarls and in...
As you look around, where did he... It's in the Umbra. We return to the pack as the blizzard billows outside, battering at the door. With the howl of the blizzard predominantly outside, though occasionally traveling down through the makeshift chimney which you made for your cooking purposes, the skunky smell of the moose meat permeating the shelter. Though luckily, anyone trying it finds that despite its smell, it has a taste very similar to venison, strong and gamey. Snarls and Tara have returned. A brief billow of wind as they enter into the shelter before closing the makeshift door behind them. A brief bit of snow staining the ground and the cold invading on the space which was, till then, fairly warm, if not hot. With the earthen smell of the soil above you, beneath you, and around you, and the mix of the moose meat, which has in some part been blown away a bit by the fresh air outside, maybe a little too fresh. Some of you are a bit thirsty, albeit, so the fresh snow is perhaps welcome. You have the night before you to consider, and then the day following to act. The scene is yours.
Coming in, Tara would go and sit down by the fire, then look to the others. Tomorrow night when we go to meet with the leeches, the spot's about 4 hours from here. So I'm thinking during the day we could go have a look into the village, now that we're a bit more informed on what exactly is going on.
You're saying go in the village?
She gives a nod. By the sounds of it, place has been growing. I'm guessing the population is a lot bigger than just the kin that's there.
We're going to walk. I look to Taran and say, we're going to walk into the town without clothes?
I think we could find clothes easy enough.
Yeah, just Adam and Eve it. He tugs at some leafy branches that are protruding in the shelter.
I mean, if you want to do that...
How do you think I won the Homecoming King?
You know, speaking of the leeches, Dee will lean, Dee will take a step forward, sitting down. I was, listening to what they were saying, and, they ain't being entirely truthful with us.
Tara frowns. What do you mean?
Everything they said was true, except for the most important part. They do mean us harm. And I don't know what they want from us. But they mean us some kind of harm.
That's not surprising.
Maybe they want to feed from us.
Wouldn't be surprised. Our blood's probably better than whatever the hell they've been drinking.
Always knew it'd be tasty.
Of course our blood would be better. We've got the blood of heroes flowing through our veins.
Yeah, like Uli Brightjaws.
She tilts her head a bit as she looks at Baron.
You don't... Oh, right, you're not Get. Uli... was, an old Get. Well, Get of old. He was called Brightjaws because no matter how many times he fought, no matter how many times he got hit, got up, and killed whatever the hell dared to attack him, he was never scarred. Every pup in my tribe knows that story. Well, considering I'm the only pup in my tribe I know, everyone knows it. Darren looks around at the faces of his packmates. Like, what kind of faces you guys pulling? Because it sounds like you're...
I mean, out of character. Would I know that story? I wouldn't know it, would it?
No.
Nah, it's a Get thing.
D, you've definitely heard Uli Brightjaws. Again, the Get do like mentioning him among themselves and occasionally others. Snarls. You don't know anything about him, but you can respect that he was a wolf that never took a scar in fighting. Means he's tough. Dave, you're just thinking of Crest whitening toothpaste.
I'm just saying they're thinking, wolves have super healing, not surprised.
So, like, what kind of faces you guys pulling? Like, the curious, like, are you gonna keep speaking? Or, like, the, oh, that's cool, and then continuing kind of emotive faces?
Tara's kind of... I'd say she's almost... leaned back a bit, curious about the story.
D in his wolf form is deep in thought, clearly still thinking about the vampire's words. He's not happy.
Snarls, I mean, you can't really see his eyes, but he seems interested, yeah.
Dave is indifferent towards the story, more focused on trying to heat up the water that he has currently. trying to boil the snow down into water.
Darren kind of surveying his packmates and looking over D. Smiles when he sees Tara's, most evident interest. What, do you guys want me to keep going? I mean, there's more to the story, but,
She will, from her kind of laying down position, kind of say, I do love a good story, so maybe you could tell it to us sometime, but then she leans forward, kind of more almost focused, and say, maybe when the buck is cooked and we can have some dinner. Right now, I think we should discuss more about the leeches.
I don't know about you boys and girl, but I, for one, want to deal with these Bane spirits. Maybe go check out that cave where those pups are murdered.
Snarls would interrupt, saying, I don't think now is the time for that.
no, we got threats. And they know where we live.
Oh yeah, guys. Sorry. A lot's been going on, I haven't mentioned it. You know the girl with the very stuffy muzzle talks, I don't know, weird. She knew quite a bit about werewolves. Like, not too much, but she knew what the Wendigos were when Dave brought it up here. Yeah. And plus, when me and Tara went into the Umbra, spoke to one of the tree spirits, they said that they can sink into the ground and sleep in it. Like, they were sleeping near a tree, like, just beside our little camp here.
Are you saying that they, like, piled snow over themselves?
No, they literally went into the ground. Right next to us.
Next to us?
So they were there the entire fucking time. And the spirits...
affirming nod.
And the spirits didn't think it was relevant to bring up till you asked.
See, spirits don't just tell you stuff. You need to ask, and not all spirits know everything about matters that are important to us, but what are important to them.
You see, at least if there's something interesting, the Weaver might give you a little hint on what you should be asking.
What are you suggesting?
I'm just saying that the Weaver's a bit more talkative than trees. But that's not surprising humans at all.
Tara points over at Dave and then says, going back on what Snarls said before, you shouldn't have said anything about the Wendigos. You should have let me speak to the vampires.
Why the hell did you bring them up anyway?
Dave would snarl a bit and say, As Tara said, they're no use to us dead. At least for now. Besides, they seem to have already known about the Wendigos.
Not what they were. At least, not that there was a tribe. Did you know any of this stuff before you brought into the cairn? You think there's a reason for that?
Darren, I think we've all made mistakes the last couple days. Let's not pick on each other's downfalls. I fucked up, I understand.
Nah, what he's saying's right. We gotta be unified here. I don't like the fact that they was sleeping next to us. And the fact that they mean us some kind of harm. That's not gonna bode well for us.
If I can make a suggestion. Since some of us seem to have problems sleeping, I suggest we take shifts. 2 of us stay up, 2 of us sleep.
I'll stay awake tonight. Me and Tara can do.
I don't have to sleep tonight, but
I can go at least another night without sleep.
Yeah,
Sure.
tonight I want to stay it too.
She gives a firm nod to Darren.
Tara, I don't think I've seen you sleep since we arrived.
Hell, I don't think I saw you sleep at the warehouse.
I don't need too much sleep to, well, function well.
I'm going to be cooking this meat probably throughout the night, so please, if you want to sleep, go ahead.
I'll be alright for tonight. I'll sleep, but a bit later.
Oh, that reminds me, please. Since I'm here thinking about it, are there any herbs and roots that might be beneficial in the area?
Out of character, would I know any good things?
You'd have to dig under a lot of snow to get them, and finding them in the blizzard would be almost impossible, even with your senses.
So,
Well,
not like
with this blizzard, it's not likely we'll be able to get any. So, we'll make do with what we have, though.
fair enough.
Plus, guys, tomorrow I want to wake up a bit earlier and perhaps interact with some spirits so I can hopefully learn a new gift. Would anyone want to accompany me as I do so?
I don't
I
mind
could join you.
I've been stuck in this fucking cabin since we built it.
So, Tara, Dave, which one?
I think we both offered. Out of character.
I mean, we have 5 here. Why are only 2 allowed to go at once?
Just because, I don't want to wake you guys up too early. Since it would be, a bit earlier than normal.
Yeah, fine, wake me up. I need to be on guard. I've been restless too.
So, Dee and Darren, you're staying here while we go later?
Darren looks to D.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Is that it for this conversation?
Well,
Somewhere to be, Snarls?
yeah.
I mean, I kind of need to meditate. It's about my time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's why wolves don't get periods.
I didn't.
Tara narrows her eyes on you.
Darren just grins. It's it.
Base out of character. Would I know that? I don't think I would.
No.
Okay, so Dave just looks confused.
Oh, yeah. Do I know what period is?
No.
Oh, see, this is a joke. If anyone suspects that it's a joke, please do so.
Snarls
Yeah.
is just confused.
I looked at Snarls and shrugged. Oh,
Snarls
explain.
whispers to him, what's a period?
I lean and whisper. It's Gaia's human version of renewal.
Okay.
I'll explain it more when we're not among everyone.
Tara?
Dave,
Yes?
shut up.
I mean, if you want to explain it to
Hey, that's something I've been thinking about now that I got my head back on right. We gotta stop insulting each other. It ain't right. Why else do you think the Garu have been creating funky ways of talking to people about their downfalls, you know? We gotta keep that down, because the more we bring ourselves down, the more down we come as a pack. We don't want to be down when those leeches come back. And when they come back, they will do anything they can to get at us.
Oh, that reminds me. I nod in agreement with D. And then I whisper. We're going to meet one of them the day after tomorrow. Or tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
Is one of us expected to go alone, or are we all going as a pack?
We should go as a pack. I think they said they'll send one of the leeches, Gabrielle, to speak to us. So while I speak to her, I think two should be patrolling, and then 2 patrolling in the Umbra, just to in case anything happens.
I'll be patrolling on the outside.
But
I'm good at sneaking around.
But they know where we live. What if they try to separate us and burn down our shelter? We're stuck out in the snow.
I think after tonight we should move camp. If we're going to be moving more west anyway, to the cave, and eventually I do want to go to the Black Wolf mine and see what's going on there. That's at least to the cave about a day's journey. To the mine. The mine is about 6 hours from here.
Then why don't we move camp farther down to the village? Since the leeches are more scared of, being around the kin, then that'll be safest for us. We move like an hour or so. We make a shelter during the day. Some of us stay here at night, make it look still lived in, and then we do whatever.
The village is further east. We'd be moving further away.
I know. They wouldn't really be expecting that, would they? They already know we're interested in going west.
To be honest, if they destroy anything we have here, well, we made it in a single hour. I'm pretty sure we could rebuild. And to be honest, it's just stuff. And then I'd also mention, I'm more worried about that whole their kin, which means they might have connections to their Wendigo friends, and they said next time they see us, they're going to attack on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Moving closer to the village, we might.
I don't think we should get too close to the cairn. But we will be moving westward because we want to investigate the cave, meet them at the clearing, and then find out what the fuck Pentex is doing at the mine.
I look to her and say, they might be here. Well, they might just simply be here mining.
Tara shakes her head. If they're here, they've got nothing good to do.
I look to them and I mutter, I know what they're mining here. I think I know what they're mining here.
What?
They're mining.
They're mining uranium. Well, I mean, it has many applications. Some power, some weapons. Usually it's used for, well, making nuclear plants, which power entire cities, states even.
Out of character. Do I know if that's at all used in helping make humans more susceptible to possession by Banes?
You and anyone else who wishes to may roll a intelligence and occult. Snarls, this uranonym means nothing to you. In fact, you don't even care. Let them play with their rock. Kara, there are banes very closely tied to uranium. In fact, it's known to draw them.
Dave would sort of go into a little bit of a tangent, muttering, "You know, I never understood the draw of nuclear. Hydroelectric is really the safest, cleanest, and most natural way to power the local cities."
That could be why there are so many. The tree spirit said that there are so many banes in the area. There are banes closely tied to uranium. It's known to draw them.
If we disrupt the Pentex mining operation here, let's say we do, won't they just come back in greater force to take it back?
Then we can hit them again. Or we can destroy the mine.
Exactly. Beat them so hard they can't come back.
Snarls would, for once, look slightly interesting. Tara, wait. If they are drawn to this, your unanimum, can you, or could we, perhaps, attract them to one place and kill as many as we can then? Use it as, like, I don't know, luring...
A magnet.
Bait.
I get what you're talking about.
I mean, we really need to know more to be able to disrupt the operation.
If only we didn't have our little indigo problem. We could alert the elders, but we'd be killed on sight now.
I mean, helping them solve this Pentex thing should give us some kind of better standing with them.
Killed on sight.
Yeah, let's not get spotted before, someone else talks to them. But I mean, why don't we just destroy the mine, and then when we're starting to get out of here, follow the trucks, destroy that depot, and they're kind of screwed. Then we tell our Sept about what's up, and they can tell when to go. We can come back up here.
Well, come to think about it, I don't want to jump to any conclusions. But Pentex might have been behind... Pentex, out of character. They might have been behind the slaying of the pups on both occasions.
And if they're worm-tainted bastards, probably.
Mm.
So we figure out what the hell's going on with the dead pups first, before we light some fireworks.
Definitely the wisest move.
Tara nods.
If they're mining, that means they have TNT. Most mining operations carry a little bit of it to get rid of large amounts of rocks or large boulders that they can't otherwise mine through. If we can get some of those rocks, we could collapse the mine's entrance.
But there's another aspect of this we're not thinking about. This place is a bane magnet. Imagine how many would be there.
A lot, I would presume.
Can they possess us in the Umbra? I'm not, that well versed.
Would I know?
I mean, if you're Black Spiral. Other than that, you can fight them in the Umbra just as well as in the real world. Claws still kill bitches.
Speaking of, and Darren, you said that you saw black spirals in your dream.
Yeah.
Depending on what we find out, we might have to risk telling the Wendigos.
Could we capture or track down a Bane in the Umbra and torture it enough to get information from it?
Better off just killing this fucking thing.
Yup. Agreed.
Snarls would say,
Shit.
like with other spirits, you can communicate with Banes, but they're more tricky. Let's say, torture? Yep, they might tell you. But what reason do they have to tell someone who's on the other side? They're wyrm, and we're creation with Gaia.
They're malevolent spirits. They're monsters. They don't
Exactly.
have any... They're just violent.
I don't have anything, like, morally against torturing these fucks, but the less time we spend around them, the better.
There might be a way. We might be able to lure enough of the Banes to us so that we can kill them separately.
How would you do that?
Well, I for one know that a few of us have nightmares, and that can cause negative emotions. If one of us were to fall asleep and give in to these nightmares, two of us could be waiting in the Umbra for the Bane spirits.
What, can you
They might be it. What'd you say?
Can you sleep on command?
I can't, but some of us might be able to, or at least allow themselves to sleep.
There's no way that I'm falling asleep around these things.
No, we're gonna be active. I mean, if this uranium stuff is a magnet anyway, why do we need to be an extra one?
Simple. I'm afraid we're gonna get overwhelmed if we try to take out the Bane spirits by ourselves
Well,
at the mine.
the thing with Banes, though, is if we fight them in the Umbra, it's like fighting any other creature. Yes, it will be difficult, as with all enemies. We could still take them on, especially if we're all working together.
But all of them? I don't know. I feel like we should probably get some more help. We just pups after all, we can't do much. We can try, but that just sounds like a death sentence.
Either way, we're going to need to kill a Bane spirit first, so we can prove ourselves enough to get their attention.
Or we discover something about the pups.
Yeah, we need proof before we go talking to the Wendigo elders. That's for sure.
Then I guess let's see what we find there.
There's
So,
always stealing rocks from the place too if we need to.
yeah, we can, like, hell, we can tip over a truck and steal some uranium from there.
Sorry, the only thing, though, is wouldn't that attract the Bane, the Cairn, which would only anger the Wendigos even more.
I assume they'd be attracted to the mine a lot more. If it's just one rock, what are they gonna do? You think they're gonna all go to the sept? I think they might be too distracted on the bigger picture.
And even if we do have to go to the Wendigos, I think the Philodox Elder would hear us out.
I hope so.
I mean, when we were brought there, he didn't seem too happy with what was being done.
I thought he was just not happy with us.
The Wendigo are weird. They can be unhappy about a lot of things.
No, I saw it too, though.
Nah, never mind. Forgot about one of the litanies. If anything, we'd have to draw one of the Wendigo to us to show him a rock. Or
Well,
we could
if we
draw
can-
them to us in general. That could go pretty south pretty fast. We might be alone in this, no matter what we do.
if we're going on the assumption that those in the village are kinfolk to Garu, some of them might have connections to the elders.
I don't want to risk messing with their kin.
Yeah, especially if they aren't even aware of their nature yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think you're right. They might not even know about their nature, especially looking at how close Pentex are basically operating out of that town.
I mean, hell, did any of us know?
Well, to be fair, we haven't been in the town.
She means...
But you have a point.
Yeah,
She has
okay.
a point. Do Bane, when you kill a Bane spirit, do they just dissipate, or do they remain in the Umber, dead?
They're dead.
Well, perhaps we could kill one of these Bane spirits and leave it outside the village in the Umber and wait for maybe someone to stumble across it.
Can't do that.
You know, I like that we're all thinking about this a lot, but we might be overthinking this. We just need to investigate first.
I think for now, what we should do is, it only takes about 4 hours to get to the meeting spot where we're going to see the vampires tomorrow night. During the day, I think we could go have a look around the town, maybe find out where this warehouse might be, or something.
If I can make a suggestion.
Stop asking for permission, no one's a Zadok here.
I know, I want to show respect.
Dave, what is it?
Since I and I assume D have the most experience with humans, it'd probably be best that if any of us go into the village, it would be the two of us.
Most experience, but I think we're all human except fleas.
But we can all go as a pack. I'm not saying I would become human just for this.
Snarls, no offense. You're not walking around with those glasses as a dog.
And not without a shower.
Yeah, especially if you go into a town as a dog or a wolf. That'd be kind of weird.
You know, if we go into this town, we gotta be careful. Litany says, "Bail shall not be lifted." Careful what you say. Careful what you do. If we go.
I ain't saying shit. I think we should just pretend that we're from out of town, recently coming in to maybe just passing through.
We ain't got clothes.
That's probably going to be the biggest thing.
We'll have to improvise. We'll have to see if there's any nearby cabins that might or might not be able to give us some clothes.
I was with bite at one of the covers, lifting it up and saying, "Can anyone make this into some clothes?"
I'm good with my hands, I'm not that good.
I never learned to sew.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Not my thing.
Plus, I mean, where the hell are we supposed to have gotten those blankets from anyway? If we got blankets from somewhere, we should have gotten clothes from there. And clothes made of blankets are obviously made of blankets. And we're also missing shoes, so, yeah, no.
I mean, hell, maybe we could sidestep into some clothes store.
Shit. Or, wait, why are we going into the village anyway?
That's what I'm saying.
We need to start somewhere. The village is the closest thing to us. Maybe we can find whatever warehouse they're using for their operation.
Or we just follow the trucks on the road. The warehouse
yeah,
is
but
going
that has
to be
to go through the town.
Yeah, they go through the town like a truck stop or something, but then they're still going to be going somewhere else. I mean, there's no power plant around here, is there? I mean, does Canada have a power plant?
I mean, that's the thing. As far as we know, we have no idea. We might as well get our bearings while we're in the town.
Let's just... Alright, let's deal with these leech idiots first, and then we can worry about all that.
But the thing is, if we're going west to meet with the leeches, we might as well do what we have to do at the town, then move camp westward, because that's where the leeches, we're going to be meeting the leeches, that's where the mine is, that's where the cave is.
Alright. Who's coming with me to check out the town?
I
Aren't
think
we
we
all?
should all go.
I agree. Safer that way.
Alright. Do that early morning? After the three of you, pointing at everyone to deep get back from that, gift learning?
We can do that. We can pack everything up.
Yeah, wake me up when you leave and I'll get started. I'll wake us both up, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the plan. We go off and do whatever it is, the learning gifts with Snarls, pack up, go investigate the village, and then start making our way to the meeting place with the vampires.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Alright then.
Look us up when you leave.
Tara nods. Then she, pulling out the flute, she kind of leans back again and says to Darren, "So you're gonna tell us that story?"
Darren grins even wider than when he made that period joke.
Tara starts playing a flute. Or at least trying to. She's learning.
Charisma performance.
Hopefully I can provide some nice ambiance to your story.
Failed.
Fuck!
So the very first sound produced as she brings it to her lips is
Would it be a high pitch?
immediately Snarls' ears slap down against the side of flat against his head as he growls. And the guys all have to take a minute for their hearing to come back.
She kind of pulls it from her lips, looks at it, then just kind of mutters, "Wonder if I can tune it."
You know, I don't think tuning can save that. I'm not gonna lie.
I wish I didn't help with that thing. Ow! Ugh.
Hey Darren, did you make this thing faulty?
Hey, don't point at me. You're the one who can't play.
Now I'm gonna try again. Nylan,
What?
can I try again?
Yes. This time with Snarls bracing himself as he sees yes.
As she was as she was putting the flute to her lips, I'm like reaching down to pull it down, but I guess I'm too late.
This time, as she brings it to her lips and you reach out, you just hear her against it.
And then I just take it down.
Respectfully, if you play that thing again, I'm going to have to put it somewhere.
Alright,
She looks at Dave and says, "Is that a promise?"
Darren smells
If I
between them.
wasn't paying-
okay. This is my cue to go meditate. You guys have fun, okay?
Oh, I will.
Oh, God.
I look at Snarls and I say, I'll watch you.
Snarls leaves and to the top of the little tent thing as he meditates.
What? Wait, are we not fighting?
Dave will go outside and watch him so he doesn't get eaten by a bear.
In the blizzard.
Yeah, it's calming.
I'll
Wait.
go into cry no storm. So I don't freeze to death.
He's gonna lean down in his lupus form, paws on his head, pushing his ears down as he looks sullenly at Tara.
Tara, almost cheekily, brings him slowly back up to her lips.
Darren just snatches it from her hands at this point.
Out of character, we're gonna if if we ever run into the Wendigos, we're just gonna have Tara play that while we run away.